Okay, we promise you won't hit 3 hours today. Guarantee.
Ivan.
Alright, okay, so before we start, right, we always ask this question to our guests. Do you have any drunk stories that you can share with us? Whether it's you or it's someone you know.
Okay, yeah, I can tell you. I've only been drunk once in my life.
Once in
really.
You check the bucket list and then okay.
No, I wasn't doing it deliberately. I really don't know what happened. Okay, so I had broken up with my first husband, and I was okay. So basically, what happened was I married when I was I think I married when I was 21, and I missed out on a lot of those things that people my age will do. Like the clubbing. I missed out on the clubbing. I missed out on any of those one night stands, whatever. So then when we broke up, then I went clubbing with like girlfriend, and I think there was one particular day I just drank a bit more than usual, even though I don't really drink. But I think that day I drank like 2 or 3 or something. Like even that is not that much. It's like bourbon coke or something because I don't really drink, right? That one time that I drank a little bit more.
It was in the club also.
So what happened was, when I woke up in the morning, I was quite horrified because I don't remember how I got home.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the experience.
That time I was living by myself. So after that one time, it was just one time. I never drank again. Because if I mean I'm a girl, right? So it's like, how am I going to make sure I'm really safe?
So prior to breaking up with your first husband, sorry to hear about that. Like you've never drank, like.
I don't drink. I don't. Okay, so it's not like don't want or whatever. It's just not long later that I realized actually it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, same as me. I also don't like to drink.
It doesn't feel good. It's not a matter of there's a part of it is I don't ever want to be in a situation where I find myself somewhere where I don't want to be, or I don't know how I got there. I think there's that element of like self-preservation that kicked in, or you can say like out of control or whatever. But I actually felt like that was like not very responsible to myself, taking care of my own welfare, and like it would be very stupid to do something like that.
Of course.
You figure out how you got home? Like you autopilot?
No, I really didn't. I don't know how I got home. I don't know how I got home.
Oh, but lucky
remember being in a cab.
Maybe your friends, did they help you?
No, I don't think so.
That means you really autopilot back.
I really don't know how I got home.
Oh, but fortunately nothing happened, right? You got your wallet and everything also with you also, like nothing was stolen also. Okay. So
once,
first and last time. Yeah.
And thankfully it happened in Singapore.
20 years ago. I think that was 15 to 20 years ago.
Oh jeez.
Okay.
I just like, why would I want to drink when first of all I don't like it? It doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel tired, sleepy, grouchy, and it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. I agree. That's why you should tell Ivan.
At least you learn something from it, right? Ivan comes home drunk all the time, pukes all over himself, but he still continues drinking day after day.
Why do people do that? Why do people do that?
I guess it's okay, I got a long list of excuses, but it's like an escape from reality, right? You use alcohol to escape.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
Amazing.
Like if you really you hate your job, then after that you cannot take it already. You need something to like ease your mind after a long day of work. Nothing better than alcohol.
Silence are silent. I mean, I would never understand that feeling.
We love our lives.
But the hangover and everything, the suffering.
And the next morning is like, oh my god, why did I do that? Oh my god, am I going to do this ever again to myself?
Yeah, I actually have clients who are like that, but isn't that so stupid?
Short-term pain, some people just like that.
It's not only that, also the money going down the drain.
Oh, true. Oh my god, like next day you see the bill.
Wow, I actually thought you are like a good boy.
Right. Okay. This is
The quiet ones are the worst.
Like among the three of us, right? Everybody always thinks that he's the most quiet. He's the most well behaved. Never do anything.
But people also think that I'm very decent. I'm actually very innocent.
Are you very decent?
I look decent, right?
Yeah.
I look very innocent, but I'm not.
Okay,
we'll get to the juicy parts later, yeah?
I'm not. I have to look this way or be certain way in order to see my very inhibited clients. You know, for a very long time I didn't even colour my hair because first of all my mom had cancer and then she said don't colour your hair. Don't colour your hair until you really need it because there's all these like chemicals and stuff.
Right.
So out of respect for her, I didn't colour my hair until she died. And then when she died, was it last year? Then I highlighted my hair. And then of course I didn't know how to take care of my hair because it was the first time in a long time that I highlighted my hair, maybe in 20 years. So when I did it, I didn't know you are supposed to not wash your hair for 48 hours.
Oh.
So of course the moment I went home, I washed, and then everything came out. Then like fuck, all my money went down the drain, right?
Aiyo.
It's like so stupid. And after that I was like, okay, and then it just kept running. And of course all the color that I wanted went away in less than 1 month.
So originally, what color is this supposed to be?
Purple.
Purple.
Yeah, and now it's
like
more
bronze.
like
It's like bronze
blonde.
now. Yeah.
No, they had to bleach my hair, right? In order for the hair to shine, they had to
Right.
bleach my hair. So when I saw that they were like putting shit to my hair and then they were like changing the color permanently, then I was freaking out.
Oh
I was
shit.
like, oh, we have to do it, we have to do it.
Okay.
It's going to be very nice.
Okay.
And then it was nice for like what, less than what, 2 days.
Then after that, no lah.
After that, I was like, it's overrated lah.
Okay lah, but this bronze color looks nice on you
For
still.
now, for now.
Okay, Ivan, you can start the show.
Alright, hi guys, welcome to another episode.
Are we
of
talking about the drunk
Drunken.
thing? Are we recording? No.
Now we started already.
Why you asking me about the drunk thing you never record? You're not going to use
Got,
it, right?
got.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like our pre-episode starter.
Oh, that's very long, stupid story.
Ivan, go.
Okay, go.
Alright, welcome to another episode of Drunken Ramblings Podcast. This is me, Ivan, your co-host with 2 others.
Ernie here.
Hi guys, Joel here.
Alright, and with us today we have our guest, Dr. Martha. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Martha. I'm a relationship counselor and clinical sexologist. I've been in practice for 13 years. I work with individuals, couples who have all kinds of relationship and sexuality challenges, issues, concerns, questions.
Thank you so much for reaching out to us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's a very interesting topic that we have been. We don't really see much about orgasms and open relationships. It's a kind of like a taboo topic. So
Yeah.
like today, we'll be interested to dive down deep into this topic.
Yeah, I think even
Okay,
more so
sure.
nowadays, like in our generation, we have to know a lot more, right, than it's already out there. So I think today we have quite a good couple of topics to talk about. Like
Okay, sure.
the first topic we're going to talk about is open relationships.
Yeah, like how would you exactly define an open relationship, and maybe how is it different compared to polyamory, for example?
Okay. Polyamory, the word means many loves. So you don't just have sex with the person, you are actually romantically involved with the person. You may or may not have sex with the person. Usually when you're in a relationship, sex is part of it. But polyamory just means you actually love the person and you have more than one love. So that's what polyamory means. Whereas an open relationship can be you just are sexual and romantically involved with more than one person in whatever way that you define. So it can be open in a sense that you can only have one night stands. That's open, but it's not polyamory. Because polyamory is really more about being in a relationship. So different people have different definitions
Okay.
for it. For me, I don't really care. I more care like what it means to the person that I'm speaking to or working with.
Right.
I think like with the rise of like dating apps, Tinder,
Yeah.
OkCupid nowadays,
Yes.
this concept of open relationship is getting more used around.
Yes, it's used and I think it's also being abused.
Used and abused.
fair, yeah.
Right.
People who say I'm in an open relationship, but if the partner doesn't know about it, it's actually called cheating. But they don't use this word, right?
Exactly.
They don't use this word.
essentially-
Yeah.
And there was once I had a client. He was describing his sexual behavior, and I said, you know that this is called cheating, right? And he got very angry and said I was shaming him and everything. And I was like, but it's cheating. It is cheating.
Yeah.
So I'm just calling it what it is, and for him to be angry with me, I'm not shaming you or anything. I'm just giving you the label for what
Correct.
it is.
Right.
And got very defensive, everything, blah blah blah. So that has a lot to do with like his own like judgment on himself and
Guilt.
Guilt and not able to accept their own sexual behavior.
So actually basically right, open relationship is just having multiple partners with no consequence, right? And
It's not no consequence. There are consequences to everything you do,
Okay.
including the possibility of getting an STI.
Okay.
There are
yes,
consequences.
of course,
There are consequences. Or consequences of hurting yourself.
yeah, of course.
Hurting yourself mentally
Yeah, mentally, emotionally, physically.
in terms of getting more detached.
Yeah, I mean there are people who say, oh yeah, I can do it, I can separate whatever, you know. Reality is really not just about them, it's also your relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you can live with yourself, whether you are happy with what you're doing. And for me, I'm not somebody who says, oh, you shouldn't do things. I feel like regardless of what we do, moment by moment, if it's not working for us, then we should ask ourselves, is this working? Is this what I want? And then we can take steps to, I guess, pivot.
But is it okay to be in an open relationship? Like, some people view it negatively, but then some people view it like, oh, that's natural, that's normal.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, it's not for me to judge anybody. This is your life. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you're honest with others and with yourself. Why not? It's not about the moralization of it at all. It's not about should or should not. It's your life, you know. And
Just live your life as long as you're happy,
correct.
right?
So it's more about when they come to me, how I support them to accept themselves.
Yeah,
and
actually,
navigate it.
to Ivan's point, right? Why do people actually seek out these kind of open relationships?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that people who are in open relationships just want to have their cake and eat it. In a way, it's true, but it can also be, this is part of who you are. This is your personality. You are maybe somebody who's more into variety. Maybe your romantic and sexual desires cannot be met by one partner, and you want to basically have more choices. And it's actually not easy to navigate the jealousy that can come up in an open relationship.
Yes.
So if you are going to take the time and effort and the trouble to navigate all this, then it has to show that it's because this is very important to you. So if this is part of who you are and it's important to you, nobody should tell you that you shouldn't do it, it's not important, or moralize it for you. I think it's really important that if you're not the person, it's really none of your business. You shouldn't be judging anybody to lead their lives the way that they want to lead.
But I got this viewpoint, like when you said the partner is not able to meet the person's romantic and sexual needs, like then is that saying that maybe there's a flaw in the relationship? It's not that the person needs variety or needs to have more than one. It's just that the current relationship needs to be worked on instead.
No. The thing is, it's when you open up a relationship, it shouldn't be because there's something not working in the relationship. This kind of relationship will not work. You get what I mean? There's already a problem, and then you go and find like for instance, you need surgery, but you put a Band-Aid. You think that will be okay, but in reality, there's a fundamental, deeper underlying issue. So it shouldn't be a substitute. It shouldn't be a distraction. It shouldn't be running away from the problem. But it should be because I need to do this because this is who I am.
Okay.
You get what I'm trying to say? I think there are a lot of people who cheat for that reason.
Yeah. There's a fine line.
Because they sweep so many things under the carpet, they don't want to address those issues, and then they go and find another distraction elsewhere, so they can keep all the pots boiling. You know, like okay, the family thing is okay. My wife is taking care of the kid. Then I want to have my fun, so I go out and do it. But fundamentally, missing the connection with wife, or missing the lying to wife or lying to themselves.
I think for all of us, like we grew up with this tradition or the concept that once you have a wife, you have to stay faithful to her. I mean, which is true. I agree, but like there's a very fine line between right and wrong. Like if let's say I have a wife and I feel that she's not fulfilling my needs, I feel that I can find my needs in other people, then am I the asshole for saying that I want to have an open relationship then?
Okay, when you say you want an open relationship, you are not cheating, you are not lying to them. So by that, you are actually claiming fact that this is what I need. So to me, it's about choice. Like you have a choice whether you want to stay with me or we're opening up the relationship, meaning I'm doing this and you can also do this if you want. As opposed to the cheating, I do and you don't get to do.
Would you say that it's right or wrong, like black or white?
For me, I personally feel that if I'm in a relationship, I would want the relationship to be honest. No matter how painful the truth is, I want to know and I deserve to know. I don't want things being swept under the carpet. I don't want this whole thing about lying. And you'll be surprised that a lot of my clients who are women, they are actually okay with their partners sleeping around and
really?
having fun. They are okay with it, but what they cannot stand is not knowing beforehand. They want to know beforehand. They do not want to be surprised.
Interesting.
They do not want to be surprised because to them that's a humiliation, that's an embarrassment. You get what I mean? It's like it's better the devil that you know than something turns around and slaps you in the face when you least expect it, and then it's so humiliating when they say things like, oh, I saw your husband somewhere with some girl, what is going on? If they had already knew about this date or whatever, then they can say something else like, oh yeah, that's just a colleague, or that's just a cousin or whatever, whatever. You see, so the not knowing, the surprise actually is what they cannot stand. Cannot stand. So when we talk about open relationships, don't forget we're also talking about open marriage. It's your marriage, you know, you can have the facade of the lovey-dovey, but behind the doors, what you do, what kind of a marriage you want to have, wanting to have an open marriage, that is your choice. It's none of anybody's fucking business, really. It's really none of their business. It's your life, it's up to you how you want to navigate it. And what happens is a lot of people want to have it all, but they do not have the skills to navigate it, and then they put it onto their partner and say like, you're too controlling and things like that. Yes. So I have been in 2 relationships that are long distance too. And I had an agreement with my partner that if you want to play with other people, I can understand it because we are long distance. However, this is what I need from you. I need you to tell me that you want to do this with someone, and it's not really about permission, it's more about letting me know before you do it. Don't tell me after, tell me before. Similar to what I mentioned, like I just don't want to be surprised. But both times, both guys, both of the long distance relationship, both of them turn around and say, you have too many rules, you're just too controlling. I can't keep up with your rules. I have one fucking rule and you can't even keep it. So like, what kind of honesty is that?
Essentially, you're just giving him an okay pass to just do whatever he wants, just to tell you beforehand.
Just tell me beforehand, that's it.
And they cannot accept it.
They can't even do it. They can't even do it.
It sounds like you're giving them more freedom, but they are saying they're feeling more constrained.
Yeah.
From what it is.
So the fact that they turn around and gaslight you and say things like, you are the psycho.
I'm curious as to the psychology behind that. Actually, it's actually quite. It's not what I would expect.
It's basically complete irresponsibility about towards your partner. Basically, I just wanted a little bit of respect. That's all. A little bit of consideration towards me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be surprised. Just let me know this is your intention. This is what you're going to do. Okay, understand. We're in a long distance relationship. Fine. You know, you get to do it, and then I also can do it if I want to do it. And not to say that I wanted to, I didn't want to, but I felt like I just wanted to. Not be so controlling because of the fact that we are in a long distance relationship, and we can come across people, and then we may have a connection, and we just want to have that one time or whatever. Why not?
But I find it very insightful for what you said about the women prefer that they are told in advance and not lied to.
Yes.
And they prefer that over like the action that.
But what I found out about men is that a lot of men will be like, no, cannot, this is my woman, I can't deal with it, I cannot.
But it's very counterintuitive because it's usually men will be, they fear the action, they fear that they cheat their wife or they do something wrong. That's why they lie to their wife. Like
they lie to their wife because they want to have it all. They want to be able to have the fidelity. They don't want to share. They don't want to feel like, you know, it's like this whole marriage thing is like, this is my property now. This is mine. Nobody touch, you know. But I double standards. I can do whatever I want. So I give myself the excuse that I can't deal with it, and I felt like this double standard is what I cannot stand.
Yeah, actually I see this a lot nowadays. Like very common that guys have this possessive, territorial thing over their partner. Like you said, exactly like you said, double standard. You know, the girls, they feel that the guy wouldn't allow her to see other guys, but the girl, you know, if he, how do I put this? So the guy is okay to see other girls, but the girl is not. Mainly because the guys think that you're mine, you know, you belong to me.
Yeah, so basically it's a possession. It's a possession. It's how you like, you know, this is my car, you know, that's it. You know, this is my house, you know. and then now this is my woman, so this means nobody can touch. Then how does this excuse your own behavior?
Yeah.
So it's like pot calling the kettle black, you know, it's basically a hypocrite. So I don't really.
It's just a gender thing, is it? Like guys who do this a lot.
I don't know whether it's a gender thing, because there are always the exception, of course. There are also women who cheat. Okay, I do know of that. But what I'm just saying is, in general, this is what I tend to be seeing in general.
I feel it's very instinctive, because you hear like all the way back in the prehistoric times, like the caveman will go to the other caveman's cave and steal the guy's woman.
Yeah.
So
Alpha male.
Yeah. So the whole institution of marriage came across because of land. Right? People started farming, and then they have land. So how do I pass down to my kids if I don't know whether this woman is faithful to me? How do I know that this is my child? So that's the whole institution of marriage came about that way. But there are still communities where it's like one woman, many husbands. I think if there was a different time and place, I would have loved that.
Oh, okay, which
But
which community? I
I can't remember.
But
I'm
there is a
very
place,
fascinated about
There's
this.
a few in China and all
Yes,
that.
but you know, they don't have a good life, you know.
No,
First
no.
of all, you have to service many men. Then you have to. Okay, I don't mind that part. I don't mind that part about the sex. What I mind is the cooking and cleaning for
Yeah.
5 husbands.
Oh my God.
All the
I
kids,
don't
right?
want. I don't like all the
It's a very
chores.
kampong kind of lifestyle
Yes,
also.
it has to do with the farming, because they
Yeah.
wanted to keep the land within the family. They don't want to split the land, everything.
Right.
It makes sense.
You hear the other way around, right? Like there's certain cultures that the man
moments?
has multiple wives.
Yeah.
And like the Chinese
Huh?
dynasty, the kings have many concubines.
Yes, I'm very fascinated with all this. I don't know. I really know something.
Look at the
This is
smile,
my
this one,
thing.
yeah.
This is my thing. Okay, I don't know. I'm very, very fascinated with watching all those Chinese emperor with all their concubines and the power struggle and all this Chinese drama, you know, a 60 episode thing. I really, really love all these, because I think there's a part of me that appreciates the beauty, the artistry in the making of this period drama
Okay.
with all the pins sticking out their head and all the fancy hairdo. Of course, in reality, back in ancient times, they don't actually look that good.
Yeah.
But I like the making of the film. I like the artistry behind it. I also like the helplessness. And so for me, it's like those women are doing what they can in the situation that they have.
Yeah.
So it's
Yes.
like making the best of life, basically. You were given this lot. Okay, women have this like all these restrictions, so you have to use your creativity and your intelligence to navigate it. So I really like all these palace intricacies. But not only the Chinese one, I also like the Roman one, the British one, the Greek one. You know,
Okay,
like I
yeah.
really like all these. So for me, I think my thing is more around power. The play with power
psychology
dynamics
around power.
and all these gender roles that happened back in ancient times. And anyway, I don't know whether you know about this, but back then, if you are the king, you can actually choose any woman to be your mistress, even if that woman is somebody else's wife.
Yep.
So that actually is considered an honor. You can help to elevate the entire family. You can send off the husband to some, don't know, godforsaken whatever place to be killed.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's quite.
The
it's
king is
quite-
all the authority.
Yeah,
Are we
yeah,
talking about
correct,
this is
correct.
the Chinese dynasty?
No, this is I'm talking about the British time.
British
Yes.
time. Wow.
And then the Greek time, I don't know, because you know Greek time. Apparently, if you are in love with a woman and you love your wife, it's considered like stupid. The highest love is when you love a man, because this is not about procreation. This is the pure love where you really love someone for who they are, rather than I am with you because we need to make a baby.
Wow, that's
Okay,
So
okay.
back then, sex with a woman is considered like stupid. Yeah.
So they honor like
Abstract.
gays
Correct.
in that way.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Ivan should feel quite good about it.
Yeah. So the person that you have sex,
Okay,
the person
okay.
that you keep as a lover is like considered like your so-called like a protege or disciple, because you are an older person taking care of a younger person.
I mean, back then they were more fluid also with their
Yeah.
sexuality.
Fluid
Yes.
also.
So if we look at history, this whole like monogamy, like I feel this is just one way to be. I mean, I'm not dissing the monogamy model. I feel it's like to each his own.
Yeah.
But just because you are like that doesn't mean that you should turn around and judge other people who are different from
That's
you.
true.
I like how you brought it together with history and all that. But before we move on,
I don't explain it very well, but I'm very fascinated with all this.
It'll be great to know if open relationships last in a way. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I
have,
believe
like,
that they can last. I believe
Yeah.
that they can last. Yeah.
And on this note, right, is it really possible to keep the physical and emotional, feelings separate? Like, I allow you to go and have sex with other people, but as long as you just love me, that's fine.
Yeah, I think different people are different. Okay, so so now I'm going to bring across this analogy, a little like okay, anyway. So in sexuality we have hookups, we have swingers, just fuck and go, I guess. So what happens with swingers is they are more into like variety. They are more like, we will consider like light people, like okay, you can think of it like a butterfly, they just flitter around, like nothing is
sexual
like,
butterflies.
yeah, it's like you're not like the KTV butterflies, but anyway, different. So I'm talking about people who are more like light, light as in they don't, it's maybe their personality, they are just not very deep people. They don't want any like real like attachments.
Okay.
So it's like you can quite touch and go.
Butterfly is a good analogy. Like they go around pollinating different flowers.
Yeah. Maybe to
like
them it's about variety. And then there's tantra. In tantra, it's all about deep. It's about how deep can you go, right? With the eye gazing and the breathing and like moving energy like through the body, and then visualizing the cosmos opening and like sex magic and all these things. So it's really about deep. So one way of looking at it is some people are light and some people are deep, and there's no right or wrong. It just depends on who you are and what you are and what you are like. And what you are like can also evolve. Like, okay, there was a time I'm like that, and been there, done that, done it many times. I am kind of like over it. Now I'm going to learn something else. And I find that when people use words like mistake, I made a mistake, or you shouldn't be doing this, or Asian shouldn't be doing things, I'm like, you know what? Don't do this to anybody. You get what I mean? Like, it's part of evolution, right? It's just like there was a time when people drink a lot, and then after a time, they stop drinking because it's like doesn't serve them. Yeah. So it's like a time and place for everything.
Ivan doesn't go through evolution apparently.
I'm still at the first stage of evolution.
Degen.
Yeah,
Degen
but
all
then
the
there are
way.
also people who need their own time to work through their own stuff.
Yeah.
And for some people, it is part of who they are.
Yeah,
So
time, guys.
yeah,
Constantly working on yourself.
So it's really not for us to judge. It's really not for us to judge.
Stop judging me.
Yeah.
Stop judging
And
me.
as friends, it's all about like love and support them the way they are.
Yeah.
Just keep them safe.
Love you.
Miss you.
You see, he's blushing.
He cannot accept himself.
I
You
cannot
cannot.
know how to accept like all this kind of perfection.
That's why when the girl touch his knee already, he want to like,
Wait, you mean I want what?
What girl touch his knee and what?
Okay, this is a story for another time, but sooner or later you'll know later about Ivan. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh my god, I'm so like intrigued with this like
Don't fall for all his.
great face.
Don't fall for all their stories. It's like
know when
there's
someone's-
MSG into all the stories.
Okay, so I share with you something. Many years ago, this is like sidetrack.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, when I went into all this like tantra, when I learned about all these things, and then they say like receive blessings. So how do we actually receive blessings? Okay, so one day on my birthday, I decided to just sit there and just open up my body and say, okay, I'm going to receive all the blessings, all the love that has come towards me because it's my birthday. And just sat there and just receive it, and true enough, I was able to receive it. So when someone is sending you love, you can actually feel it, but if you don't allow yourself to receive, you don't really feel it.
Okay, well, can you explain what do you mean by
Yeah. I was supposed to ask
receive?
that.
It's like a meditation. You just open up and say, I receive.
And you feel something.
Yes. So when you receive, like Ivan, Ivan, right?
Yes.
when your friends were like sending you
You're
love,
blushing again.
when friends were sending you love, and you're like, I'm blushing, I don't want. So that is already not receiving. You see,
Reject.
it's like a how to say, when we don't breathe, we are not able to let it flow through our body. So the ability to receive is actually a conscious decision. I want to try to receive, and then when you try, it gets easier and easier because it's like a muscle. It gets easier let all these layers down.
So essentially learn how to accept compliments or like.
Yes. So learning how to accept compliments, a big part of it is breathing through it rather than suffocating, rather than like
that's
compressing it, rather than internalizing it and then turning red, and then you actually don't really feel the love.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you translate on top.
That's very true. I mean, you tend to do that, right? You hold it or you keep it until it explodes
Yeah,
all
we
over you.
kick, yeah. So
I like
similar
the
for
barrier.
yeah, similar for orgasm. Similar for
Exactly.
orgasm. When we are feeling all this sexual energy moving through our body, a lot of people don't want to lose that energy. So what we do when we're masturbating, when we're having sex, is we hold our breath. So the energy is building, and then we kick, and then we just ejaculate.
Is that the concept of like aging? Like you just want to push it and prolong it?
Yes, but when you push it, you have to cannot push, right? You have to back a bit, right?
Okay,
So
that's
that's the whole breathing and then coming back, breathing and coming back. So what happens with a lot of people when they masturbate fast, so they don't actually get to really experience or allow that sexual energy to spread through their body. So similar to being able to receive a compliment, similar to receiving the blessings when someone says, you know, like Happy New Year or Happy Birthday, like really opening up your body and say, okay, so I guess all these blessings is somewhere. So let me just sit and really feel it, open up my heart and really give myself the chance to feel it. And this is actually so important to us because this is the nourishment, the emotional nourishment that we need as human beings. To not feel disconnected from one another, to actually feel connected.
And I mean, you linked it to orgasms and to not feel shame as well, right?
Because it's actually all interrelated, right?
Yeah.
Like life and sexuality is actually all interrelated.
It sounds like the sex ed we never had.
Yeah, so
Well, this sounds very like all this energy flow, and it's very scientific. Like,
Yeah, so when you think about it, what we talked about, people who are swingers, people who are light or butterfly, we call it, without judging them, is it who they are, or are they just going through the motions, just like the Friday night get drunk kind of people, where they just go through the motions and they don't really like ask themselves like, is this what I really want? Is this serving me? Is this making me happy? And everybody have their own journey of when they will have, hopefully, may or may not have their awakening. Just because someone is old, like 50 or 60 or 70, it doesn't mean that they have any more emotional maturity or sexual maturity than somebody who's younger.
what's this awakening that you mentioned?
Yes, it's very interesting. Just earlier this week, I interviewed two of my male friends, and they are so beautiful. They are so like not typical male. They are very vulnerable. They can talk about their emotions and talk about so many different topics. So they also had their own awakening where they kind of like ask themselves like, what actually is the meaning of life? Like, who am I? Why am I here? Like basically going deeper into the true essence of being human. So different people will have awakening, maybe a different time, or maybe some people don't have, I don't know. But this is why there's this word called the woke people, woke culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So woke in terms of
Being more conscious, self-consciousness. Yeah, I think it's first self, and then to community, and then to by extension to the world. So if you love yourself, you won't if you love yourself enough, you won't want to do things that are harmful to you. And then if you love enough, you will want to also love others, and then by extension love the community, love the world. So like what's happening?
and start giving back and all.
Yeah, like what's happening, with the war and everything. Yeah, it's very far away, but somehow we are all connected. We can identify with human suffering, and we cannot help but be affected.
this is a very deep side of it.
I'm quite you're somehow linking everything together very well, which is quite interesting.
It's
to
all
what we're
related.
Yeah,
It's all related.
to open relationships.
So okay, in summary
No,
for open
okay.
relationships, but going back to the point, open relationships in general can work, right? It's just subject to
work.
both parties
Yes,
and honesty,
yes,
right?
Yes, and you will be on a journey of learning about all your triggers, your shadow, your jealousy, your insecurity, your sense of self. Because let's say you have a partner and you guys start opening up the relationship, you'll be asking yourself, what is it about me that makes me so special? What is it about me? What is it about our love that makes them want to stay with me? So it might make you dig deeper into who are you, what are you offering, and you can turn that feelings of jealousy into energy to further work on yourself, as opposed to go down the rabbit hole of being negative. You can actually turn it into positive.
Interesting. I like your the way of thinking that you think is
Yeah.
what can I offer to this person
Yeah,
instead of what
precisely.
can you offer to me,
Yes.
which is
So
what
there are some people who have that belief. Our relationship shouldn't be just taking things for granted. Shouldn't just go through the motions. It should be a conscious moment by moment, day by day decision of whether I want to stay with this person. So it's a much more authentic relationship, as opposed to people who just stay together but are living miserable lives for 30 years and then tell other people they have a successful relationship. A successful relationship is not determined by the length of the relationship. I actually feel that a lot of them are just like, just going through the humdrum of
motions,
life, going through the motions, and they're not really being truly honest and authentic with each other. So I actually encourage my clients to really think about the kind of relationships they want to have, because it's their choice. Like for instance, you can practice certain things in the relationship, because this is someone who loves you, who has your back, who supports you. So there are certain things that maybe you have difficulties saying or practicing. You can do it with your partner, and once you gain the confidence, maybe you will be able to practice this much more easily at work. So for instance, like if you are a people pleaser and you want to learn how to assert yourself and say no, today no, I don't want to eat this or whatever,
Okay.
your partner would have the agreement with you to support you to speak up. And then
Right.
once you practice that, you gain more confidence, then by extension doing this with your friends, family, and then at the workplace. So there's a lot of possibility of growth when you're conscious in a relationship of what the relationship can offer you.
It's very interesting because we view things, we view like an open relationship as the action itself, like, oh, this guy cheated on his wife, stuff like that, or he had sex with another woman. But now we are looking at it from a very holistic point of view, like me as a person, how can I grow from it and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
because open relationship is not just about the sex, it's easy to have sex. The point is, how do you actually keep the relationship going that is healthy, you don't break the person. So I often use the analogy, and this was the analogy that I was taught, is you use the analogy of a doll. You play with a doll, you do not want to break the doll, because if you break the doll, you cannot play with the doll anymore, or toy or robot or whatever you have. But the whole point of it is, when you are with someone, you do not want to break them, you do not want to destroy their soul to the point that they are damaged and then they
Right.
cannot function anymore. So there's this saying, right? If you're in a relationship, always leave someone better than you found them.
yeah. I agree.
So what
Yes,
happens with
yes.
all these
I agree with that.
selfish people is like, I just take and then like I don't care you, right? So I think there's this element of like being honest, being upfront, like full disclosure. I feel is healthy, and it's
Caring.
yeah. So far I haven't had an experience all these online apps where I was being lied to, like somebody actually is in a relationship with me or has sex with me, and then later I found out that they're married. So far I haven't had those kind of encounter, but I do know of people who don't have the balls to just be honest and let the person have the choice of whether they want to get sexually involved with you or not. I feel like that is the way we should be as adults. Don't play like unnecessary like mind games.
Yeah,
Wow.
well said.
There's an influx of like
Yes.
information, and yeah. But it's interesting to listen to another perspective, because personally I don't think open relationship works for me, like, because I think I don't know how to handle that part. I cannot split the physical and emotional.
You don't have to
aspects of
split it. I think one of the misconception is you must be somebody who doesn't feel as much, or you must be someone who can feel split
Okay.
it. So how about just living through it, like like going through it, like breathing through it, like feeling the pain and then going through anyway.
Oh.
Wow, but
Well, that'll be challenging. I think that's a challenging sell for a lot of, let's say, Singaporeans to start, right? I
Yes.
think a lot of us haven't learned to deal with these kind of emotions.
Yeah, so that's part of growing up.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, you don't have to, right? You don't have to. But maybe you find someone that you're so in love with and you want to really give it a go because you don't want to lose this person, because maybe that's what that person that you are involved with wants. Because when you're in a relationship, it's not just about who you are and what you want, it's also about what they are, what they want.
So for you, let me point the question back to you. Like, moving forward, let's say your next relationship, or if you're already in a relationship, would you want to be in a monogamous relationship or an open relationship?
Yeah, so for the last few relationships that I have been in or like started to explore being in it, I actually did bring it up to my partner. If any point in our relationship either of us want to open up the relationship, I want you to know that it is on the table, we can talk about it, but what I do not want is I do not want any cheating. So I'd rather us be honest, and I really want us to have the commitment of staying together. It's more important that we stay together rather than fuss over control and being fixated with this monogamous relationship. But I do want to start off the relationship monogamous because I want that to be the foundation of love and trust first, and then from that point of foundation, because I'm literally just meeting this person, then later if we want to, then we can
I
navigate.
can trust you enough.
Yeah, then later
to
we
do
can
more.
navigate. Yes, correct.
Okay, but if you do it in this aspect, I'll understand,
Yes.
It's a lot easier to understand.
I'm more interested about the commitment of staying together rather than the structure of what it will be.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I started talking like that, and then they get very screwed up in their head. They get very scared. They get very scared.
I think the general Singaporean man would think of it as a trap.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking, if I put myself in your shoes, that guy's shoes, and then my girlfriend said this to me, I was just like, what's going on? Are you trying to test me, or what?
So you want to sleep with that girl?
Yeah, something like there's always a motive behind it. It's not like an honest, upfront thing about it.
I guess on the flip side, there's a lot of partners who have trapped their other partners in these kind of situations to somehow traumatize them to even be too afraid to even start a conversation.
Yes, yeah.
So these
interesting,
are all the mind games that people play.
Exactly.
So it takes time for someone to really know you are who you are. You say what you say what you mean, and you mean what you say. So there are people who do all those mind games. I don't want to be in a relationship that's like that.
Yeah. I think that's a very good wrap to our first part of our conversation, which is on open relationships. And actually, the second part of our conversation is
this another episode or no?
No, we're just flowing on.
Okay.
It's to another of your expertise, sexologist, right?
Right. Okay.
So we want to ask also more of sex
Can we have a break?
problems. Yeah.
You know what?
Sure.
I really need a tissue.
Yeah, sure.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I fighting my running nose.
If you want, you can remove.
Actually, we can end off because we recorded quite long already.
Yeah, just rambling,
40 minutes. Okay.
talking about Roman and Greek.
No, but I
Well,
like
that's very
that
interesting.
aspect. That's what makes it.
But I don't
a
say it
podcast.
well. Okay, so I tell you, actually, that's the reason why I signed up for this online philosophy class, because I want to actually learn all this. I don't know why I'm so fascinated with
To
that.
express these stories better.
I don't know. I really like it. I really like it.
No, because the way that you brought it together, I think that's a very interesting way
Yeah.
to.
I've never
tell.
thought about that kind of perspective before.
Yeah, but
but
in
I'm
ancient times,
surprised that-
the love that you have for a man
It's
is
totally
actually
different.
encouraged and it's actually respected. Versus if you love a woman, it's considered stupid.
I mean, the surprise about your own experience with the two guys. You openly tell them it's okay, and then they turn around and say that you're putting too much rules.
Yeah lah, that's the one of them is this what you mentioned playing games with me where he's
mind games.
yes okay, I give it okay, no, never mind.
It's okay.
Don't go there.
Okay, but we went through quite a few different stories and topics, and I appreciate the linkage to history in some form. I think that was quite a unique way to put it all together. Yeah, so thanks for coming on and sharing. Thanks for bringing your book. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about it?
Okay, so this book, my first book, is by Marshall Cavendish, and it's a compilation of different essays, and it's a very good introduction to sexuality for people who are new to sex and sexuality. Yeah. And my second book is called Orgasmic Yoga, which actually is much more exciting.
Interesting.
So my second book is self-published. It's about different ways you can play with your body, like a playground, using your breath, movement, sound, using intention, pelvic floor squeezes.
Wow.
So it's basically learning to have extended states of ecstasy and orgasms. Yeah. And my
Very
third book
cool.
is called From Princess to Queen. So it's more like a personal reflective essay and then teaching. So each chapter is a personal essay and then a little bit of sharing or teaching. So it's more like a personal kind of angle. Yeah. And my fourth book is actually banned. I actually have a banned book. I have a banned book. So my book is actually banned in Singapore. So
Can we have that one also?
it's banned. So my fourth book is called Uninhibited. It's actually an Asian vulva photo book. So we have explicit images of vulvas. And then the government, of course, came down on me and said, Martha, you're not supposed to sell it. Don't sell it. I can't sell it in Singapore. Don't distribute it in Singapore. But in certain cases, with certain clients, you can show this to your clients.
They treat it as pornography, I guess.
Yes, it is. It is. And then we went to Amazon and said we want to publish this book on a print-on-demand kind of a basis because they have that thing. And then Amazon was like questioning us, like, are you sure you are the owner of these images? And we could prove this, right? We had the release forms and everything, but then they didn't let us publish this book print on demand on Amazon. So what ended up happening is I actually have basically like an abandoned child.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Okay, just very quickly, what's the thought process behind this fourth book?
Oh my God, because I work with so many people who have vaginismus, I work with so many women, people with vaginas who have fear of penetration. So their vagina was shut down, making penetration difficult or impossible, cannot go in. So it's very difficult, and then a partner will say something like, I cannot find a hole, or it feels like hitting a wall, or like just cannot go in. So I work with a lot of people who don't know where's the vagina as well. And they get very confused with all the flash and the folds and all the like they just don't know how to navigate it. So then they will ask me questions like, actually, how do women look down there? And then they will ask me questions like, how do Asians look down there? And you'll be surprised that actually there are a lot of images of white people. There are there are vulva books out there, but I actually don't have any Asian vulva book. So I really wanted from the time I started my practice, I really wanted to publish this book. I really wanted the book to actually be able to show my clients that this is how women look. So based on what it looks like, where do you think is the vagina? And it's very, very important because they if they can guess what it is on somebody else, then they will be able to guess where that is for themselves. Of course, it's really important to know our own bodies, like open up our legs, take a mirror, like really like look at our own body. But there's also a lot of shame. Like they look at it and then they start crying and say, oh, I look so ugly. Like where does this come from? As opposed to looking at somebody else's and say, it's not like basically the desensitization process, like, oh, it's actually not as scary or not as big deal or not as ugly as you think. So that was, and then I wanted to like interview the women, and then we wanted to have like their stories inside and everything. So
it's more for educational.
Yes, it was very much on the basis of education as opposed to what the government thinks and blah blah blah. Anyway, this is Singapore.
Anyway, for those of you who are interested, this book is called Love, Sex and Everything in Between. Fact and Fiction from a Sexologist, Dr. Martha Tarali. So do check it out if you're interested.
So 3 of my 4 books are on Amazon.
I think we covered a lot today, and there's a lot of things to digest. And thank you for your interesting perspective. I think there's something to think about now already. And anything else?
And how do people reach out to you?
Oh yes, so you can go to my website. That's eroscoaching.com.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this week. We'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.